Hey guys, it's Matt. As you'll soon see, this is not Saturday's regularly scheduled video presentation. There's been some unforeseen circumstances. No, a family member has not successfully committed me to a mental institution? Not yet. Anyway, something happened recently which you could say is the straw that broke the camel's back, whatever that means. It is leading me to say certain things here that need to be said. Relates to the first through, say, fifth grade truther that isn't trying to advance, that isn't trying to do anything but bring me back into the bog. You know, if there's a first grade truther that's in the bog that wants help, is in the quick help in the quick, I throw a life preserver. Do you throw a life preserver into quicksand? Whatever. You throw anything, a rope to get them out. I'm always willing to help the first, second, third grade truther come out of the quicksand of the bog with a life rope, and they want to advance. They want to leave the bullshit behind. But there's this group that doesn't want to advance. They're addicted to the yellow breadcrumbs. They're addicted to the fear and the excitement of the conspiracy chase. And they love the conspiracy generation machine. And they want to bring me back into it. They'll never advance. And one of the things that gives this group away, and this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while, I am surprised every week by people that will send me some things where it'll be a reference to a certain YouTube channel or a BitChute video or Brighteon or what a Rumble or Odyssey or all the other ones where people can apparently speak freely, where I'm saying to myself, how is it possible that you've spent time at this channel and you're also sending me this bullshit that will just lead me right back into the bog? Like, how could you see merit in both channels? I don't understand this. Either there's merit here in leaving the bog behind, in seeing the nature of the trick, and the master trick is most adeptly crafted for the truth community. Its greatest skills are directed at the truth community and all the ways to trip us up because we're the only group that has a chance to see through all this bullshit. So it lays thousands and thousands of trails of breadcrumbs. And people will send me this stuff. And I'm going, how is it possible you even spent a month here? And I know some of these people have been here for years, but yet you're still sending me this bullshit about the bog. So let me just say it plainly. My goal in this presentation is to lose 5,000 or more subscribers. What did he say? Yeah, why not? Why would I care about the number of subscribers? Never ran an ad, ever. YouTube used to slap some ads on my videos 5, 6, 7 years ago because if you would use a little soundbite of a song or a clip of a movie, they would allow you to do it back in the day, or at least people that talk about the things that we talk about. But then they would run the ad, pay the artist, and also pay or take the advertising money to pay the artist or whatever work was used in my video. I received nothing. There have been ads, but I never ran an ad. So if you never ran an ad, and there's a tiny little percentage of people that support what I do monthly, and the same people have been supporting me for years, with almost nobody new coming in, and this is a tiny group, why would I care about even having 10,000 subscribers? In order to root out first grade truthers that never want to advance out of the bog and want to eat yellow breadcrumbs forever, it's best for channels like mine to run a series of rudimentary tests to expose them. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to see those that fail this test, but maybe I can shame them into having themselves unsub this channel. And we start with the t-shirt test. I didn't want to mention it right off the bat because I wanted to suck people in. This is a t-shirt specially prepared by me. And if any way you looked at my t-shirt for a secret code or tried to add up the gematria or, or to find a 33 or something like that, please, please unsub from this channel now. We'll pause. Okay, hopefully maybe 400 people have unsubbed. Because you know who you are. Did you look? This is specially prepared. Pam went to this place called Block Island. I have no idea where it is. I know it says Block Island. I can see that. I have no clue what state it's in. But see, I know what people say. Oh, Block. Oh, Matt's presenting the cube. What is that even? Isn't that related to Saturn in some way? Oh, he must be. He wears the black robes around. As soon as he's done this video, he puts on the black robes. If you island, that's like a graduate animal farm. That's a little hint. He's trying to put you people on an island. let's do the first rudimentary test now. If you and be honest, come on now. I don't know if you passed or failed. If you looked at my T-shirt for code or even for a second, you're not ready. Sorry. Please unsub me. We'll pause for 5 seconds. Unsub me now. Test number 2. If you examine my presentations like this where I'm on camera, which I don't do as much as I used to, maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, if you're examining it looking for a hand symbol, you failed. And I think you want to return to the bog as quickly as possible. If you are looking for a hand symbol, because then you could then go back to and present it to the troll channels and they could tell you if I'm a Freemason or I'm involved in some sort of secret order or secret society, then you failed as a first grade truther and you're addicted in some way to the conspiracy chase and you want to get back in the bog. So I'll say it one last time. I loathe the word initiation. I like nothing about it. This whole world tries to initiate you in something or other. Does worry about yourself philosophy in terms of how to navigate reality, our personal journey where we're on our own, does that sound like a secret society to you? Does worry about yourself, does that sound like initiation into a group to you? No, I'm not in any secret society. How would that work with me? How many Matt? Well, how many? Think about how many times Matt goes away during the year. Where does he go when he disappears for 4 weeks on those vacant? Uh, Thousands of videos and never went away for even. Well, I did go away for a week twice because I was hit with a you know what on the channel and I couldn't. Oh, that's his excuse, guys. That's his excuse. That's how he does it. He gets a strike presented that way when he's out at you know what island. That's it. Matt just came clean. The strikes aren't legitimate. It's all a setup. Then he can go to David Bowie Island. To guys, other than the 2 times I was locked out of the channel, a week each, one was because they said I was inciting violins and viola bot, the playing of inciting violins because of a joke I made about our esteemed president, Joe Biden. I made a joke, and the other one was, I was throwing out certain trinkets from a certain era in our history, and that was called that wasn't inciting violence. That was hate the beach. That was or hate the peach. Hate the beach. That's what that was. Because I threw out trinkets on camera. So if you want to, I guess I'll never be able to convince you. Maybe I was on David. I might slip sometime. I was on David Bowie Island, and it was fun. Those 2 weeks where I presented like I couldn't, like I just lied and said I was locked out of the channel, and I got these strikes, and it was all set up. And I'll tell you, I'll just be honest with you right now. I can share it with you because I've been exposed. Whitney Houston gives her best. The lead singer of Linkin Park, he gives his best. David Bowie, Prince, they give their best. I got a back massage from Prince. I'm not joking. So if that's that's what happened, guys. I don't go anywhere. I don't. How did that? If I'm in Matt, there's some troll channels that freeze frame. Matt's a Freemason. Or whatever. How would that work? Wouldn't there ever be a reward? Wouldn't I be able to? Matt, you could be right now at the penthouse level of Caesar's Palace, and the AI exists, the Stable Diffusion. So you could present your little room there, or however you do the Joe Rogan show. You could be anywhere. You could be on that island, Matt, and we'd never know. Presenting you. Yeah, I know if we look you up, Matt, you've been at the same residential address for over 20 years, but come on. Freemasons or the secret societies could fake that. Okay, guys, the point's pretty simple. If you go in these places, you go to look at the troll chat, please unsub. Go spend all the time with the trolls. You're not ready. You don't want to go down to a half page, leave all the yellow breadcrumbs behind. Maybe you'll always be addicted to the fear. Please unsub. After the second test, we'll pause now so you can lean forward and unsub now. The third test is very simple again, and I'll be very brief because I've complained about this one a lot recently. If after I load a video, instead of looking at the subject and relaxing back and not being a bathroom boy, you look at the timing of it, you look at the numbers Oh, are you concerned in any way with the gematria? The gematria? Oh, see, Matt seems to be making sense here, and it's a pretty rational and good presentation, but it was 33 minutes long. Or since I almost always avoid that because I just don't want to put up with the bullshit. If I can clear those people out, then I can load videos now that might be 33 minutes without worrying about people making dumb comments. That's what I'm trying to do here, to hopefully get rid of all those people. But the other day I loaded 54 minutes, and or just maybe the last video, and somebody went 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a hand symbol. Freeze frame that. 54 minutes. That's the 9. Oh, is there possibly a you know what in the other number? See, it wouldn't matter what's being said. It wouldn't matter if the entire presentation resonated with your inner tuning fork or the sharpening of the sword of discernment. See, it wouldn't matter. All that it would see it would be somehow you'd be exposing me because of the T-shirt, the hand symbols, or the gematria associated with the time of the video. Come on, I can't unsub you. I don't know if you're failing this test. If you find yourself doing that, please, please be big enough to unsub now. Now. You're not ready. You just go spend 5 or 10 more years with the trolls. Most real people will come out of it. And just you'll wake up one day and go, what am I doing in this bog? And you'll want to step out, but you're not ready yet if you find you're having these tendencies. Unsub now. As I've said many times, there are people that actually appreciate going through the comments and finding a sense of community here via the comments and other like-minded individuals, much more, or at least the same as whatever I might be presenting, depending on the topic, much more looking forward to the comments. So my commitment to them, but also I can't take it anymore. There's people I see the same sorts of names. They're not interested in helping us move forward. They're not interested in helping move us along. Just snarky little comments and little jabs and vitriol. Just discovered that word 6 months ago, the vitriol. So I'm turning it up even more. And it's like blasphemy to a small group, like 5% of people I come across in the YouTube community or our truth community. Oh, you can't get rid of people. And I'm not getting rid of people if they disagree. You understand that, right? If somebody says, Matt, what you're saying is absolute horseshit, but in a little bit nicer way, saying, Matt, let me explain to you where you're going wrong. You know, you can not believe me if you want. Those comments get my attention, but I rarely see those comments. Not that everybody always agrees, but when somebody disagrees, it's usually like done in a snarky, or they're trying to poke or jab or to make themselves like in a more superior position where it's very, Matt, you're doing okay considering how long you but I'll check your progress to see if you really get to our level. I'll see how you like, just like the master to like I know nothing doing this for 14 years, so there has to be that master to Padawan learner ratio. Or it's not never, but it's rarely a comment. And it's weird the way it's almost like a metaphysical symptom of the way reality is going. Um, what is even somebody I totally respect, like I'll just call him Rudy, and I'm sure I still respect him, but just the way he left that comment a few months back, like that's completely wrong, like excellent. I don't. It was just strange. Like, why not just say, Matt, in this first part, I think you were getting it right, but Matt, this is where you're getting it wrong. Let me try to add something, and where let's and maybe what I'm presenting, Matt, will rub off on you, and if it does rub off on you, you can represent it to your subscriber base. It's almost never like that. It's weird. It's like it's always a jab or a poke or a. I have no tolerance for it, guys. If the comment, I'm turning it up to 10 as because I don't want to deal with these comments. These people are not trying to get to graduate. They're not trying to help us all along. I've talked about this or alluded to this a few months back, but to me, what's happening here is very simple. It's almost like, again, a metaphysical separation. So at first, let's just say when we all jumped into this, most of us came in to truth between 2008 and 2012, let's just say 2015. That brought millions of us in, mostly because of the examination of the 7-Eleven job application. There's very few, or only maybe 10% that have come in hardcore if they're in their past, say, 35 or 40 years old in the last few years. 2008 to 2015 was when the doors opened, the barn doors open, and whatever, however you want to position it, we ran in to truth or ran out or dove off the back of the ship of fools. That was when. So we've been doing it a long time, is the point here. All right, we've been doing it a long time, and at first we were all on the same lifeboat together. Okay, how many dove off the back of the ship? And okay, we're all in this lifeboat, and there was a huge camaraderie. There really was, for whatever reason, and we were all analyzing the same things, and even the mall events and the school events, and saying like the eclipse, and there's no possible way that could be what the World News presents or what Stephen Hawking presents. It's just not possible. There was huge camaraderie and similar opinion. So we're all on this one, I've talked about, or let me present this analogy of what I presented a few months back a little bit differently. We're all on this lifeboat, but then who we're up against or what thing we're up against here is very, very cunning and is never to be underestimated. It is a worthy, absolutely a worthy adversary. And it says, okay, maybe it drew us out. I can hear some of you saying it drew us out on purpose with mistakes on purpose. Yeah, absolutely. Mistakes on purpose. Heard that from this channel first. Absolutely for mistakes. Say back in who knows when it was, 8 to 10 years ago, looking at things going, this isn't an, they're not trying to make a good presentation here. They're trying to make mistakes on purpose. And that's just changed the game. Like what's going on here? Yeah, trying to segment us, drive us out, isolate us, identify us, right? That's all part of it. But now that we're identified, we're all crammed on this ship. And isn't it a great brotherhood? The lifeboat off the ship of fools. Then it works. It will work. It will always go back to its run up the middle, its first playbook, its first few plays in the playbook. Divide, conquer, camps, segmentation, having one camp fight with the other camp. Okay, Matt has come out and said, he doesn't think it is simple. It's the whole reality is as simple as go into the light or not go into the light. He doesn't think it's that simple. So we can try to get people that say agree with Matt to then fight with the people that do have a more simple presentation that all of reality breaks down to. Even the way I'm presenting this is almost like fighting words, right? The way I'm even presenting this, I'm even falling for it to a degree here, but I'm not going to re-record. People that presents channel that like all of reality does boil down to going in the light or not. And so it's masterful at then whoever was in the initial lifeboat to have boats break off or people dive off that boat into their own little camps. Saturn Moon Matrix, how trapped we are here. Okay, initially 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever, we're all in the same lifeboat, all that mall events bullshit, that school events bullshit. It's nice to have this brotherhood. That's like, well, the people in the middle and the back, what are you talking about up front? We're really concerned with up front, and really all we talk about is how trapped we are here. And it's a recycling trip and Saturn Moon Matrix. And then the people in the back like, well, no, we're not trapped. And like it will try, of course, to accentuate any differences that we have amongst us or between us. Its first few plays in the playbook is to divide. And whatever little lifeboat forms, it will work to divide that boat. And it's happening here, even in this tiny little community we call quantum of conscience. And although we can see this happening, this further segmentation of the original lifeboat, say when a whole group dives off that boat, the boat just automatically shrinks and reduces down. And now inside truth, off the back of the gigantic ship of fools, there's all these little boats going all around, and nobody wants to help each other, right? It's no longer the camaraderie or that gigantic one boat we had back in 2008 through 12. But it seems, okay, we can see it's playing its game of divide, but in a sense, if anybody's yelling at me, I can hear like, well, what are we supposed to do? Am I supposed to embrace channels that say we're absolutely trapped and this is a prison planet and we're screwed and we're trapped and there's almost no way off? You have to search for some invisible grid and all this. No, I don't see it is irreconcilable differences. It really is. And maybe that was inevitable. Maybe it wasn't. The Not Milk will always work through its trolls and things like that to accentuate the differences between people that are at least trying to investigate truth. At least like we talked about, there's only a tiny percentage here that even see part one. Part one, like I have a two-part theme in the book. Part one, the trick. All of reality plays a trick to hide a real spiritual being from understanding itself and what it's supposed to do in life. Well, your best friends, my family, your family, they don't even see part one. They don't even think part one, the trick, even exists. It's just excuses for the narrative or the palace guard defending it, like they're running some sort of download. They don't even see the trick. So, but we had, when we all saw the same trick initially, we had more of a brotherhood. But what are we supposed to do now? Am I supposed to say, well, just to be brothers with you, I will agree with you that we are totally trapped and tricked, and it's a prison planet, and there's no way out. And I don't believe that. Um, I don't understand that position. To me, it's very simple. As all of reality breaks down to a half page, it helps clear everything up. It's not just the half page; it makes everything into a half page or the simple. So maybe it's a Forrest Gump simpleton approach. I mean, you can see if this resonates with you or not. But I would say, so what all these people are worried about, the trap or the trick after death or recycle, you have no way to beat the Saturn moon matrix. They, well, are we beating the just like the as above, so below? Are we beating the trick here in this place? Almost everyone would say, well, yeah, we see through this bullshit event on the news. We see this war is manipulated. Well, we're beating the trick here. No one would disagree with that. Well, then why wouldn't I think I can beat the trick there? Am I missing something? Like the as above, so below. And if there's no chance of me beating the trick there, and the trick here in no way relates to that trick, why are they working so hard now to fool me if one doesn't relate to the other? Am I missing something? Uh, the channels that are so concerned with all of everything just boils down to go into the light or not go into the light. Go into the light. I can't even say like I feel like go into the light or not go into the light. Jeet, yeah, Jeet. No, Jew. Go into the light, not go into the light. If it all boils down to that, well then what are we even doing here? Just I don't know. Just get a kiddie pool, blow it up, and lay in that until we just do nothing here. Why are we researching anything? Why are we doing anything here? It all boils down to that. Once you've got your little plan, maybe you get the Tibetan Book of the Dead and you can decide which way to turn at this light and what to do at that light. Or when the bright green light and the self-propelled demon pops up, you know what to do. Or how to play that Donkey Kong, you know what to do. What do you have to? What are we even doing now? It's pretty simple to me. I'm saying, let me just present it. We have overcome the trick, part one, but we're overcoming the trick now, or to encompass all of us working to overcome the trick now. I think we've done it. So that will, of course, carry through the moment of death. And if it doesn't, what are they working so hard here to trick us for? Well, they need the loosh, man. Oh, I know, Pootie Tang, we're Pootie Tang. I know, but what that group that's set up here to be the role players to take the loosh as the reward? Why? Who put them here to play the trick? They just put themselves here to get the loosh for no reason. It's not part of a greater reality system. This could go on forever. It is irreconcilable differences. A branch of we were all in the same boat. They branched off. What am I supposed to do? Say, come back. I now accept that I'm screwed and trapped in the Saturn Moon Matrix. I know. Come on back. There's no way out. It doesn't matter if we're beating the trick here. I know we're just all screwed. We're so screwed going into the moment of death. Come on back. We want to be one community. Come back. We want to be. Come on. I baked you a nice cake here. Come back and join our boat. I don't. It's almost like you can see the Knock plays the game to divide the boats into smaller boats. But I guess. Is there any other way it can go? Is there any other way it can go? Would it be the Saturn Moon Matrix, or all of reality boils down to going in the light or not going into the light? Well, Matt, what is your take on going? I've said it many times. I've beat the trick here, so I take complete and utter confidence going into the moment of death. And since we're dead, we don't have to eat. There's no air conditioning bill. Well, if you're not sure about something, I don't know, sit down for 1,000 years. I'm not sure about doing that, or whatever you suggest, you archonic being, or whatever's going to pop up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We've beaten the trick here. We'll beat it there. If the trick's so great there, it wouldn't be working hard here. One last time, I'd like to see one of these channels just literally take the last 15 seconds of what I've presented and explain that to me. If it's so difficult to beat there, what are they doing to us here and why? And if we can overcome it here, that's nothing. Why does a football team go through training or conditioning or drills to take the full confidence they're ready to kick ass into the first game? So how the heck did this all start, Matt? Well, okay, let me tell you the story a bit. Somebody that's been at this channel for years, years. They send me a video, somebody with, say, under 5,000 subscribers. She's talking about how we're all trapped. And at first I'm thinking, why, like, you don't know my take on this, that we're not trapped and we are, we'll talk about all that stuff later, guys. But it's like, why am I being sent this? So this video is basically talking about how trapped and tricked, and it's like Saturn Moon Matrix type of stuff. But then halfway through the video, and this person seems, again, legitimate, like they're trying to help. I think they're fooled. But it doesn't appear to be a troll or anything. They're just trying to do the best they can for all of us, misguided. But then halfway through, starts citing one particular troll channel that's presenting these truthers, or look at the hand symbols they're showing, but the troll channel exposing other channels because of the hand symbols. They must be a Freemason. And this is one of the trolls that goes after me all the time. So a long-term subscriber of this channel sent me that. I'm going like, I don't, how does that even happen? How does that even happen? People will send me stuff about a mall event. I always say, I have to say it in a certain way, a mall event or a school event. And it's like, you don't know my take on this by now? Yeah, a lot of the big ones will be, you know, they don't make sense. I agree. I'm one of the first ones, right behind Russian vids. I'm right there. Okay, one of the first ones to investigate and start exposing this bull crap. I'm one of the original guys but I don't do it anymore. You don't know the rudimentary games that what we call Not Milk plays at this point. If something happened in a mall or a school, I don't care. I'm beyond it. I don't know it's not going to play those same games. I should go back and dive back into those weeds. That's basically as real as it seems. Well, Matt, if we were really in that parking lot, something would have happened. Yeah, I guess something happened in that parking lot, but it's reality somehow can play this game, and we've talked about it. How it pulls all this off, who knows? There's a lot of reality buttons and levers we don't understand. A lot of things going on that we never will comprehend. But I know one thing, 100% certain. Whatever it is, however it pulls us off, it's continuously trying to pull us back into those weeds or into that bog. It's continuously hoping that it says, come figure me out. How do aren't you a little curious how, quote, I pulled this off? How the Not Milk or whatever that thing is, the screen, the outer ring of reality. Come on, you're a little curious. Come on back in. Maybe we'll give you some breadcrumbs and show you how it was, you have to think of it how the reality pulled it off. And even that is a false breadcrumb, of course, it's the bog. But if you're not thinking in terms of the outer ring of the screen or the reality itself, if pulling things off, if you're thinking in terms of how this police force coordinated with this fire department to keep everybody quiet, that coordinated with this sheriff's department, if you're thinking at that level, you are just lost. You don't understand anything about how this reality works. If you're on the level of the human organizations on the ground and who was paid and threatened and who was kept quiet and how they do it on the ground, there's no possible way to understand how it's all done on the ground. And the rudimentary explanations still come to me from the first grade truther that it paid and threatened, and you don't realize who these police departments are, Matt, and it doesn't work. It maybe worked for the first 3 or 4 events. Now we generally have thousands, if you include the Indian, the wonderful event of India landing on the moon, and how the bot that tracks this channel knows how I praise that event. And you have what happened back through Kennedy saying, we commit to put a man on the moon. By 1963, said that, and by the end of the decade, to put a man on the going back to that and all the stuff it's pulled off, not just mall events and school events. It's in the thousands or tens of thousands. No real world could do that. No sheriff's department coordinating and keeping the fire department quiet could do that. Other things are going on here, things we won't understand until we die and go on to whatever is next. Aren't you worried about the tricks and traps at death? No, I'm not. I'm beating the trick here. I'm pretty sure I'll beat it there. I'm not worried about it. We're already dead. We don't need no pizza delivery, right? Even if something pops up, get out of my face. What you getting up in my business for? Don't you want to go back into a body or whatever these channels talk about? I was like, well, I don't know. I'll just sit down here for 1,000 years until you go away or decide. Well, who cares? Who cares? Once you realize you're a mortal being that's part of something, or Tony talks about higher self, something that is part of what always has been and always will be, that's beyond the comprehension of our brains. And once you realize that, it doesn't matter. There's nothing to worry about. All we have to understand is the part two, why we're here, to do the work, the little things. If you get drawn back into the bog, into the weeds, you can't do part two. It's a half a page. What do you think this truth community thinks about my half page? If I believe it, I'm not just, aren't you, Matt, you're not here as a Freemason to try to fool people? No, I'm just here as a guy sitting in the same damn room for over 20 years trying to help out the best I can. And I'm a reality junkie just like you are, interpret it the best we can. And over especially the last 5 years, thought this is all this complicated stuff. Every bit of little detail it's throwing, it just kind of hit me 5 years ago. This is the complication is its main ruse. It's its main distraction. Come on, Matt, just one more Manly P. Hall video. Here's a video that was presented to me not long ago where he is talking about the Order of the Rosicrucians. Don't you want to sit through that for an hour? No. Guys, last segment here. Just thinking for a few minutes. All of this is so simple. It really is. I mean, I can prove it to you right now. You don't the Jedi's and the old guard in the first few rows. Wake up! Zara just jumped. Sorry, Zara. He's sitting over here. Sorry. I don't have to prove it to them. I mean, but I can prove it. It's just, okay. Would you say that everything here in this reality is as it seems, as it's presented, or is it usually what's really true once you do the investigation, you get in touch with inner knowing, the opposite is true? As we've talked about, the reality is a refraction or an inversion. Yeah, everything's backwards. Everything's 179.5 degrees, 180 degrees. It's a refraction. It's right. Everything's backwards. So would that, in terms of your what you've investigated regarding jumping into the truth bog over the last 10 or 15 years, do you think that applies to the complicated nature of how this reality works, what it presents, or do you think that rule of backwards inversion and refraction doesn't apply? Well, it would generally apply to everything, right? Because that's how it does business. So there are these tens of thousands of, as we've talked about in the past, esoteric tomes and books and things to research and things to look into. And even the way the Old Testament and the New Testament is presented, guys, it's been in the hands of creeps for 1,500 years. Not 15 minutes, 1,500 years. There's truth in it, no doubt. But it's overly complicated. Of course it is. Anybody that says you can just sit down and bang out the KJV, no problem, it's easy to read, yeah, sure. I've tried to read many sections. I ain't the dumbest bulb. I don't understand none of it. None of it. Who lived with Sling Blade and Little Frankie in Sling Blade? Doyle. Doyle. That Doyle's coming home tonight. He's got some drinks in him. Doyle says, this one begat that one beget this one. I don't understand none of it. I don't. But okay, let's just leave the Bible out of it. I think it's overly complicated. But look, all these other esoteric tomes trying to explain how things work, tens of thousands. Always say the same things like the Madame Blavatsky works and all this stuff. Well, obviously, anybody that dives in to this as a first grade truther, or at least initially into the bog, finds a ridiculous amount of complication. If that's it, it will be pulled in all these different directions. And what do these secret societies? And maybe I should sit through the Manly P. Hall lecture about the Order of the Rosicrucians, because he'll probably tell me what they believe, and maybe I can just collect little breadcrumbs up. All that bullshit. What do you think the real answer is for how this reality operates, with everything being backwards and a trick and an inversion? The real answer is very simple. We know that because we see how it presents itself as ridiculously complicated. Therefore, we know it's the opposite. We know it's simple. Maybe you don't agree with my half page, but find your own half page then. It's one page for me now. At the end of the book, it is one page, all of reality in one page. Now, that's so short, I'm still allowed to talk about it in terms of my half page. I'm always going to say my half page. Well, Matt, if you put it in 8-point font, it could be a half page. If I shrank, that's a good point. If I shrank it down to a certain font, it could be a half page. It's still not complicated. It really isn't. And part one, the trick is already done. We see through it. There's really nothing more to do. We'll have fun with it. We'll laugh at it, but there's nothing more to do other than the part two, the personal work, why we're here. Go back into the bog. You're not doing the reason you're here, the part two. Go back into the weeds. Worried about hours. If I can watch one more YouTube video about if I should go in the light or not, that's not why you're here. That's not the work. It's very simple. It really is. Now, if you maybe you don't agree with my exact half page, but if you agree that ultimately you'll come up with your own half page, and that the weeds and the bog is not the place to hang out because you're not doing part two, where does that leave the rest of the truth community? Uh-oh. Let's say I'm right. It leaves them without a product. Do you understand? It leaves them with nothing if it is truly a half page. Do you understand why I would have trolls? The half page leaves me with nothing in terms of what we did 10 years ago or 8 years ago, trying to figure out how everything works, having revelations about reality, which are very simple and rudimentary to us now, but was a big deal back then. 10 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago, still maybe had a little belief in politics. Well, I was not, for news to everybody out there, I was not born out of the womb rising up like Neo in the Matrix with full knowledge. I was a Matrix child just like most people. I've said many times through 2006, at least, I believed in every bit of the 2001 job application story. 2004 and 5, I'm watching Fox News. Why can't we get that guy in the cave? I'm all upset about it just like every other Republican. And I consider myself a conservative, and I agree with my uncle. If we could just win more elections, we could take the country back. But yes, I've in the past I was fooled. Wasn't everybody? Troll channels will try to use that against me. Look at this. He did this. I was born out of the womb with full knowledge. I mean, what the hell? Anyway, so guys, we have a similar path into truth, okay? And once it gets to be a half page, it puts myself in a way out of business in terms of research or finding that next reality revelation. So I've tried to mix this channel up the best I can. We'll do a Melvin, the ridiculous from time to time, the Melvin and Bezos. We'll make fun of news stories. I'll find a comment from somebody I suspect could be an NPC under a Matrix video and say that, and there's always the reality is always going to throw a lot. I tell you what, I had another thing I was going to talk about today. I've never, ever sat down and gone, this channel or this subscriber base expects a video from me today, and oh no, sat here for an hour, I need to come up with something. Never, and I mean never. There's usually 3, 4, 5 things stacked up to talk about. This reality is such a bozo show at this point, even in just the making fun of it. You can go to CNN.com, and there's never going to be a dearth, whatever that means, of things to talk about. I don't honestly, usually I make a joke. I don't know if that means like a desert, the desert of the real, like very little or a lot. I don't know at this point. Please don't comment on it. I don't know. This reality will always give us things to make fun of, talk about, and the fascination. And we'll go back to the Mandela effect and all even though it triggers people. It's not like in terms of figuring out the dark, the not milk. Yes, my half page is pretty fixed. I might revise a sentence here or there. In terms of that huge aspect of this channel, it leaves me with nothing. Nowhere to go. What am I going to do? I just come out and lie and not present the half page and say that it's so complicated. You stick with quantum consciousness for 10 years, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. I've always been committed to. In this way, again, my half page, in a way, in terms of what this channel was founded for, leaves me with nothing from that aspect. But again, the reality throws so much, as I said, there's always going to be a lot to make fun of and talk about. The point is, Why do you think I have so many trolls? Or if you agree with my half page, all the bullshit on Brighty, on Odyssey, bitch, every bit of it is out of business. Because if you see it as for what it is, it's a presentation, it's false. Even something, I'll even take this to all of reality is a presentation. If it's heavy and you can drop it on your foot, and how the pyramids were constructed or whatever, it's all a false presentation. Once an illusion, always an illusion. So I'm going to talk about it being total bullshit in terms of how it pulls everything. It's reality buttons and levers, mechanisms, things we just can't understand. It wants us to get back in the weeds to try to understand it. It can't be understood. Trying to understand it is playing its game. It's diving back into its weeds. But I'm saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to take that out of the mix because that's a heavy piece of cement that you could drop on your foot. So that means it's absolutely real. Well, I don't think that's any more real than a Kit Kat dash. Anyway, we're straying. Or I'm not we. How many Britney Spears personalities you got? I'm straying. The point's simple. Half page. The entire purpose of this channel puts me out of business. Nothing more to talk about in that segment. I hope you stick with me. There'll always be a lot to make fun of, to talk about. Just like yesterday's video, pondering an NPC basically revealing himself. I thought it was very interesting. We'll do stuff like that. But this message is not going to go over well with thousands of channels on BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, Odyssey, and this platform. So you can understand one last time why I have trolls. Thanks for listening.